Hello, Happy New Year. I say Happy New Year. I don't know how long it'll take me to edit this and get this up on online, but hopefully not too far into the new year. I hope you had a good time and feel raring for the photographic possibilities in the year ahead. The first job of any new year, or a little bit just before, if you're really organized, is to prepare, for me, is to prepare an external SSD. So I've got one here. I'll talk a bit about that in a minute. But it's an important thing, because if you are more organized at the start of your photographic year, the better time you're going to have photographing, editing. You're going to improve your workflow, and everything's going to go much more smoother, and you're really going to be able to concentrate your efforts on creating really exciting photos. So this is a really important thing. Now, if you are someone who is storing photos on your laptop or computer, whatever it is, that is something that you really want to have a think about, because it's at some point that is going to come back to bite you. You're going to you either have to move them off of there, you'll run out of space, the computer will start slowing down, whatever it is. And so the sooner you start putting your photos on an external device, the better. And so that's where this comes in. I'm using an SSD. This is a SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. I had to pay for it, annoyingly. No one sent it to me. I would very much welcome a free one. They're not amazingly cheap. But they've always been pretty reliable for me. And the reason I've gone for the Extreme Pro is because of the faster read-write speed, okay? And so for me, it's really important to be able to quickly look at, transfer and move photos. So that's why I've got the faster read-write speed. I've got 4 terabytes on there. Now, for you, there's going to be lots of variables, okay? So it's going to depend on, are you shooting in raw format photography? What camera are you shooting onto, and how much you shoot? Those kind of things are all going to impact on this. And so I shoot in raw format, and I'm shooting a lot. I'm taking a lot of photos throughout a year. And I find with 4 terabytes, I'm just about, with the right amount of culling, I'm doing quite a lot of culling on the photos before I transfer them over. I'm just about getting away with it. And when I say just about getting away with it, I don't really want to exceed that 3/4 of volume of the drive. So I want to keep it working at its best. I want to keep it within that 3/4 full. Otherwise it starts becoming problematic potentially. So do with that. I think most people, probably a terabyte a year would probably be all right. I think some people might even get away with a terabyte every couple of years. So it's going to depend on that. The reason we want to try and do that rather than get that massive file size and just use it for 10 years, the more we use it, the more likely we are to sort of run into problems. So that's why I like spreading it out and backing it up onto another drive as well, which we'll talk about. So have a little assess of how much you're shooting, how much space that's taking up, and sort of, you might have to adjust it as you go. I find it's okay. One of the things I found more recently, last year, is that I'm shooting a lot more video these days, and that's starting to fill up the space a little bit more. So we may come into a place this year where I may have to split between stills photos, split drives, that is, between still photos and video potentially. So we'll have to wait and see how that develops. But so that's what I'm putting the stuff onto. I'm then backing up. So there's an old adage that if your file doesn't exist in 3 different places, it doesn't exist at all. And so we have a backup hard drive. So this is an external hard drive. This is a WD Elements. The 5 terabytes was cheaper than the 4 terabytes. So there you go. I've got a 5 terabyte one. That's the weird world of modern day capitalism, I guess. So anyway, I got this. Again, whatever works for you, price-wise, storage-wise, etc., etc. And then so I back up everything that's on the SSD onto the external hard drive. So that's still only 2 places. But with the third place, there's 2 kind of ways of approaching it. Some people keep their memory cards from their cameras and do it that way, especially if they're going on a big trip. That's actually my approach to a degree. What I do is, especially if it's a significant shoot, I will keep that memory card, that camera memory card, until I finish the edit, and then the finished edit will go online. So that's where my cloud backup system. I wouldn't recommend necessarily backing up all your raw files. It's going to take a lot of time and it's going to get expensive quite quickly, I think. So from my point of view, I keep a backup SD card or CF Express card in the camera bag, and then I've got 3 different places. As soon as the edit's finished, the finished edit goes up onto the cloud and it's backed up there. Then I can reformat the camera memory card and start again. So we've got a rotation system of memory cards as shoots and edits develop. Hopefully that makes sense. Probably going to just deal with the storage side of things today, and in terms of workflow, editing workflow, how we move a shoot along, that might be worth doing another day. So let's go to this SSD drive or the SSD. This is from the previous year, 2025, labeled 2025, and so within that, what we've got is several folders, and so again, it's going to depend. What's worth doing is sitting down and writing out how you shoot, the kind of things you'll shoot, and what's going to make sense for you, how you do it. And I'll explain how I do it. I'm a pretty big fan of it. I recommend it to people, but I appreciate other people shoot a little bit differently and what they photograph is different as well. So the way I do it, because I'm doing video as well, I'm going to have what I call a raw folder where all my raw photos go into, and a video folder. And then, so let's ignore that video folder for now and then just go into the raw folder. So I create a raw folder. Oh, I've gone way ahead of myself because we need to talk about what we do as soon as we connect the SSD drive to the computer. Now, this is going to be a Mac side of things. Windows will be slightly different, but pretty similar at the same time. So there'll be slightly different ways of doing it. If you Google it, I'm sure it'll help you, but just stay with me for a bit because I'm going to tell you how we do the file structure afterwards. So when you're on a Mac, it's simply connect it up, open or search for disk utility. If you type in disk, it will come up as an option to double click on. Then you're going to find your SSD, click on that, and then you hit erase. And so that's formatting the drive. So you hit erase, and then you're going to have some options. Now, if you're only going to use a Mac or an Apple computer, go for the, here we go, APFS, something like that. It will come up on the screen. You'll see it, but it's APFS, something like that. You choose that one. I'll highlight it here in the video. That's the one you choose. That's going to get the best performance out of the SSD and on your Apple. If you're going to be using that drive between Apple and PC systems, Windows systems, you want to choose the exFAT version because that's going to allow you to do that. So that's the thing to bear in mind when you do that, and then you hit that. Okay, so you formatted the drive. I title it 2026. Again, you might want to change it, the name, call it something more appropriate for you, but because we're working on a yearly basis, that's what I do, 2026. Then we've got the raw folder, and then within the raw folder, we have a month-by-month breakdown. So I'll create the raw folder, and inside that, I'm going to have January or Jan. And so then within that Jan folder, that's where I'm going to put all the shoots that I've done within January. So if it's Ilkley Moor, for example, we're going to go raw, January, Ilkley Moor, and then something like maybe something that's more descriptive of what happened. So it might be heavy frost or something like that, snow, whatever it is. I'm going to put something distinctive so it stands out in the memory of what's on there. Because let's remember, we might be coming back to these photos in 10 years' time, maybe, to re-edit them or to find the original raw photos, something like that. So that's the structure. I think that's where I want to leave it for now, because I think that's enough, and we can do another video on actually moving photos and doing a culling process and software involved and how we might do that as well. But I think the key thing is to get really nice and organized so you can have that. I don't think I've missed anything. If you think I have, put it in the comments. If you think there's a better way, because this is something that's evolved over many times, and every year I change a layer to it and change it up a little bit. So you might have a better idea than me. But I really hope, and I always get a good feedback on these videos, because I think it helps a lot of people out in the long run. So I hope that does it for you. And I hope it sets you up for a really fantastic year of heading out, exploring with a camera and having a nice, smooth workflow when you get back from them. So thanks very much and have a good one.